Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lucky Life podcast, where we create our own luck and design the life of our dreams. I'm your host, Melissa Merck. Let's dive right into the episode. I'm currently reading The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, and I'm having a really hard time getting through this book. I think I've only read the first 4 or 5 chapters. This has been on my list of books that I've wanted to read for a long time. I've just seen so many people rave about it. It has really good reviews, and it kind of seemed like a book that would be up my alley. I just feel like if you are someone that reads self-help books, you listen to podcasts, TED Talks, YouTube videos, I don't know, you're just consuming a lot of content in the self-help space, I feel like inevitably you're going to hit a point where the content is just not really serving you the same way anymore, and you need to stop consuming, and you just need to get out and start taking action and doing things and living life and creating. Going back to this book, I just feel like I've heard these ideas, these concepts so many times, just in different ways from different people, and I do think sometimes you need to hear something multiple times, or you just need to hear it said in a certain way for it to hit home. So I'm not bashing this book. I'm not saying this is a bad book, because for somebody who is maybe newer to the self-help space, maybe you don't consume so much self-help content, this is definitely more in the spiritual realm, I would say. This could be a life-changing book for someone. Just feel like I've consumed too much of this style of content, if that makes sense. And that also goes for podcasts, YouTube videos, content in general. I was really feeling this around the new year because there was a lot of videos about how to reinvent yourself, new year, new you, up level for the new year, blah, blah, blah. And don't get me wrong, I love this content, and I've created this type of content, and I think it can be super helpful. But again, I've watched too many of these videos. I've heard all the points. I know all the things that people talk about, and I'm just hearing the same things over and over and over again. You can definitely overdo it. So I was just feeling very exhausted from consuming this type of content. And again, you hit a point where you need to stop consuming, you need to start taking action. But I feel like I have such a block in this area. And I was talking to my friend Steven on the phone the other day, and we talk about this all the time because we both feel like we know what needs to be done in order to achieve our goals and get to where we want to be in life and be successful and move the needle, whatever, and yet we're not doing it. And it's why is it so hard to take action when you know these actions are going to get you to the place that you really desire? I know a lot of people will say this comes down to your subconscious and limiting beliefs, and maybe at your core you feel like you don't deserve certain things, or you think you're not going to be successful, so what's the point in taking action? Or maybe deep down you don't actually want these things, and you're striving for goals that maybe society has placed in front of you, or maybe your family, friends. Sometimes I think it's helpful to just get really clear on your core values, your belief systems. What is it that you truly want, you yourself as an individual, not what anyone else around you wants? So that's something I've been thinking about recently, and I'm still trying to get to the root cause of my stagnation, but this brings me to another point. And that is seasons of life. I've talked about this before. I feel like I've been stuck in a similar place for quite a few years now. And if we go back 5-6 years, 2019, 2020, I feel like this was obviously a very strange time for a lot of people with COVID and everything. It felt very like life was on pause. And I was also in a relationship that I knew wasn't going to go anywhere. I was kind of feeling trapped, living at home because of the whole COVID situation. So it wasn't the best time of my life, but I do think I needed to go through that in order to learn certain lessons. Once I got out of that relationship and the lockdown had kind of lifted, I moved to my own apartment. Finally got to experience living on my own in the city. If you guys watch the vlogs, I lived there for about a year, but it was a really beautiful corner unit, overlooked the ocean, had the best sunset views, so stunning. I also reconnected with a lot of friends that year, and I think that year of me living there was all about just getting back to me. I also started going to therapy. I found a therapist that I really liked. I think I had a lot of trauma stored in my body from years and years ago, and this is a whole other topic, but when I was little, I never cried. I thought that not crying and not showing emotions was me being strong, and I wanted to be strong. So I literally think there was years where I didn't cry growing up, and I never talked about my feelings. And so it took me quite a few years to get through that. And then I ended up moving back to the suburbs, which is where I am now, and I've been here for a few years. And again, these years have just felt slower, and sometimes I feel like I'm not making any progress. But when I look back at it, I really think I've needed these years to work on like resetting my nervous system, feeling safe in my body, because I also think I went through years where I was trapped in fight or flight. I've gone through periods of time where I've had really extreme like chronic fatigue, adrenal burnout, like my cortisol was just flatlined. It's taken a really long time to get out of that and heal that, and it's still a work in progress. But all of this to say, like what I'm trying to get at, I feel like this is like getting into a long story. It's like, what is the point? Sometimes you need to go through slow years and years where it looks like you're not making any progress, and maybe from the outside people are like, what are you doing with your life? But it's inner growth. It's the growth that people don't see. And it's funny because whenever people ask me, they're like, oh, like what's new? What are you doing with your life? I'm like, nothing. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't have anything exciting to share. And maybe that's something that I need to work on, because there's always something that you can talk about in your life. And I think I really down talk my experiences. Like, I feel like what I'm doing is like not a big deal. And I also think like whenever people ask this question, generally people will answer and talk about new relationships, or like, I don't know, got engaged, got married, having kids, travel, and then I guess like work, like getting promoted, business. And those are like the main things that people talk about when like they have big things happening in their life. But everyone goes through phases of life where you don't have big monumental things going on. 2025 is the year of taking more action, moving on to new and better things, and that is the goal. We'll check in at the end of the year and see if we made progress, okay? And then I also wanted to talk about social media. This is obviously a big part of my job, and this kind of connects back to like one of the first things I was talking about, and like trying to uncover like the blocks and why I can't hit my goals when it comes to success within like work and finances and all of that. And I think part of it is because I kind of hate social media. I need to rewire how I think about it, because I don't hate all of it. Like, there's such a positive side and I do love it, but I think I'm just trying to keep up with so many different platforms. Like, how are you guys feeling about social media in 2025? Comment down below, let me know. Personally, I feel really good about YouTube, podcasts, Pinterest. And then I also just started a Substack, which I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think I like it. Like, I downloaded this app or this platform quite a while ago, but I just didn't understand it. It's more writing. It's a lot of blog posts. It's also kind of like Twitter in a way, because there's a thread where you can post notes that are kind of like tweets, but I like it because you can find people through this main thread, and then if you like what they're saying, you can follow them or subscribe to them, and then it goes deeper into like a blog post. I'll link my Substack down below if you guys want to follow me there, because I think I'm going to start posting. I feel like that's a platform that I would value more. I think the reason why I like these platforms is because it's more long form. I also access most of these through my laptop. I think I feel better when I'm sat down at my computer versus scrolling on my phone. I don't think I've ever fully connected with short form content, and I hate trends and trying to like chase trends or like keep up with algorithms, and I'm just like, I'm not interested in any of that. But then I get down on myself and feel like I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not good at my job because I'm not keeping up with these things where that like help you grow. I don't know. Maybe you guys can relate to this if you are in the social media space as well, because there's a lot of creators these days. And so clearly that's just something that I need to like figure out, like what platforms I want to focus on and like what kind of content do I want to post that like brings value. And it's so weird because like when I post stupid things on TikTok, those are the things that go viral, but then I'm like, I don't want this to go viral. Like, it's so stupid. So what I really want to focus on this year is just prioritizing my health first and foremost. I want to have a solid routine that has me feeling good, feeling energized, and in a place where I can take action, because that is the thing I want to do this year, is just take more action, do more, get out of the house, connect with more people, make new connections. I want to feel inspired, and I know that's what's gonna bring me to feeling more success and like creating content I feel good around is because my content just focuses around my life. And so if I'm feeling good and inspired and doing things in my life, that's going to result in better content. So those are my thoughts for today. Let me know if you relate to any of these. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling for this year? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode, listening to me ramble. I will talk to you guys soon. And until then, have a great life.